Hi, I'm Jonathan Anderson from JW Anderson. I am the owner and creative director. I do men's and women's wear, which is interlinked. The idea is of a shared wardrobe. It's about a global force in both. And welcome to my studio. What we're doing with Nikon is we're coming up with an amazing bag to be able to reflect my aesthetic onto a product which is ultimately unisex. When I'm designing something, the reality of, like us doing a bag with Nikon is so exciting because anyone in the world can be accessible to it. I think we have very similar approaches. I do a product, Nikon does a product. Their attention to detail and my attention to detail, for me there's a similarity, even though one is technological and mine is maybe less technological. But what I think is interesting is ultimately the object for me has to look good. I work on aesthetic. Clothing has to have a function and it has to have an aesthetic. I wanted to kind of make a bag with massive function, like the camera looks good, that ultimately houses a camera, but ultimately you want to wear. A bag that could nearly dress a look. I wanted something which had an element of edge to it. So we're looking at a lot of like block coloring because I love the finishes that Nikon have on the cameras and the idea of block colors. If you're designing a product for something which is extremely functional, if the bag is not functional, it's not going to be really worth anything. It's not really worth having. It has to be able to add something. And that was a challenge because ultimately the camera has everything. You know that if you're putting something in, it is protected. You know that if you can carry everything else with it, if it's more lenses or more memory cards, or if it's a notebook. A camera is kind of part of my everyday life because we do fittings continually. So we have to record everything. We have to take thousands of pictures to be able to recreate garments and have notes on it. Everything involves us actually building up banks and banks of imagery. The reason why I love the Nikon 1 camera is because it's sharp, it's quick, and it's really easy to use. In terms of what it looks like, I really love the way in which it's just simplistic. It's modern, it's not fussy. I'm not a professional photographer at all. I need it for a function, and the function for me is to get high-end images that I've got good clarity so I can be able to use it for my work. For me, photography is just as much as an art form as fashion. There's certain photographers out there that I find hugely inspirational. I really love the work of David Sims, who's an incredible photographer, and is someone who is, I think takes a very good graphic image of something. It's very kind of impactful. There's pictures that we do in the studio that I find just as inspiring. One picture that I find really inspiring is a picture of my dad. He was captaining Ireland against New Zealand. He was the first person in history ever to challenge the haka. Pictures of your own life always hold more sentimental value. When you're taking pictures of looks to try to work out what the color is, or should it have 2 pockets, should it have 1 pocket? When you build up series of images like that, they're kind of impressive on their own scale because it's the slightest change that can make a look and break a look. When I look at a Nikon camera, I feel like it's a leading brand. It specializes in something as much as I do, and I think when 2 brands like that meet together, you can come up with something genius.